had a state health insurance initiative which would have allowed municipalities to participate in the state health insurance program through the Division of Insurance. I'm told it would have saved most communities about 25% on their health insurance costs, which in my city, my town, Swampscott, would have saved about $800,000, which would have been very helpful in covering our budget shortfalls. But it was effectively blocked by insurmountable hurdles created by the legislature, special interests at play. Efforts to close archaic utility tax loopholes for Verizon and other companies have been stymied by legislative leadership. What do you do, or what would you do as our representative to address the influence of special interests on Beacon Hill, which have contributed to state and local budgetary problems? And the bonus question, do you favor state licensed casinos, and why? We're going to start with Tanya.
Yeah, I know. I spoke to some officials in Swampscott, and I heard their concerns about the state health plan, the GIC state plan for municipal workers. Unfortunately, they missed out on that because of special interest groups and teachers' unions and whatnot. And therefore, I would be their voice. I will fight, if elected, I will fight to make the state mandate that GIC help, the GIC health plan that would save them a lot of money, be the choice of all municipal employees effective July 1st, 2008. They can save a lot of money on that, and that's a problem with special interest groups and the visibility pressures. The state has to step in and mandate something like that for all municipal workers. That's what I would do.
Thank you, Tanya.
What you're referring to is the GIC, and unfortunately, because it was held up in the legislature for as long as it was sprung on the municipal workers and the local communities with very little time to figure out whether it would be to their benefit or not. What unfortunately happened is the local communities, I think there's only 4 or 5 communities in the whole state of Massachusetts that has been able to come above the 70% needed for municipal employee approval in a community. That unfortunately our local communities lost out on some savings, which may translate into lost jobs or a decrease in services, and that will not be revisited again until 2009. So a town like Swampscott, I know Blue Cross Blue Shield, which covers the municipal employees, they have offered to renegotiate that contract. So I would imagine that Swampscott will look for other alternatives as far as savings. And two-part question. On the part about the casinos, I will say I am not against casinos. I have some very specific concerns about casinos, though. I know this has been the hallmark of discussion right now with the governor's proposal. But there are many issues, many questions that I would want answered before I gave it the approval. Traffic has not been studied, how it will affect our community. Anybody going from any tunnel or the city home to the North Shore may end up having a traffic problem. That needs to be addressed. Will there be enough funding for increased law enforcement and addiction services? That's another matter that has to be studied. Will local businesses suffer because, like the giant sucking sound of a casino may draw in so many people that it will drain the resources of local businesses? And also the way the funding that the state will obtain from the casinos, how will it be allocated to the communities? Once those questions are answered, then we're ready to talk turkey.
Yes, thank you, Howard. As I understand it, it's a 3-part question. First with the GIC, then with the special interest, and then with the casino gambling issue. With respect to the GIC, it was actually a shame that was not able to be worked out in October, because once the unions, there were people, that had some real valid concerns to ensure that both sides' issues were met. But the town of Swampscott stood to lose anywhere between $700,000 and $800,000, and quite frankly, did lose that money. You can't fault anyone. That what should have happened is those negotiations, as Laurie alluded to earlier, should have taken place much earlier. I've spoken with the union members. I've spoken with the Mass Teachers Association. I've spoken with the Federal Teachers Association, and I heard that, and they gave valid reasons what occurred took place. So it's important to look at both sides, and that's what I referred to earlier with respect to collaborating and discussing things early. That could have occurred. It should have occurred because it would have benefited everyone. It would have saved the town money. Actually, members would have saved health insurance costs. The special interest that we refer to actually goes hand in hand with the casino gambling issue. The governor was stymied with respect to his hotel tax initiative as well as the corporate loopholes. He couldn't get anywhere with that for the moment. What's left? He goes to Plan C, casino gambling. Casino gambling, the sucking sound that Lauren was referring to, are actually voters voting with their feet, going down to Fox's Mohegan Sun. That's money that could be made available in Massachusetts. As long as one thing is certain, as long as that money is earmarked and goes directly back to the cities and towns, and we can address the public safety issues and the quality of life issues and the gambling issues, as long as there's an additional guarantee that money is specifically earmarked, a percentage to go directly back to the cities and towns, we need to take a serious look at casino gambling. We need the money, we're hurting, and we need the revenue stream. Thank you.
As far as the insurance is concerned, I think those questions have been pretty well answered. It boils down to the same thing, same problem that we have with most of the things getting done in this Commonwealth, and that's that people need to get together and work out their differences. I think I'd be hard-pressed to say that anybody in the State House or the governor had any interest adverse to the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. But this power play needs to end. This lack of, sliding information into bills and having bills not passed that are worthy bills because of that information, or worse, having a bill passed that has little things in it that people didn't notice, like the firefighter in Boston, I'm sure everybody's aware of, who was at the bottom of the list and was pushed to the top of the list. He had the lowest score on the civil service exam of all of the people, and he went from the bottom of the list to the top. That needs to stop. The special interests of the legislators need to stop. Open dialogue, open communication between all the parties. Governor Patrick says that we would bring in 20,000 new jobs with casinos and $600 million in revenue. Could we use the jobs and the revenue? Absolutely. We have about 94,000 less jobs now than we had in March of 2001. He also projects that there'd be 100,000 jobs in the casino industry by the year 2010. Now, I don't think that's actually the case. I think that's being very optimistic. But I have to agree with Caesar. I don't think we're creating new problems for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts by bringing in casino gambling. I think we're bringing back a lot of people who travel from Massachusetts and bring Massachusetts money down to Connecticut, and we could keep it here. I am opposed to it in this local area due to infrastructure.
John?
On the issue of GIC, a group insurance, as a retired member of the Marblehead Police, I'm one of the people that's going to be affected by this. And from what I can see, it shouldn't be a problem. I think what you all need to know that the issue of acceptance is between the towns, respective towns, city, and the respective unions. The town employees need to vote on this. And the formula that was used to change the insurance last time around, when I was an employee, in a sense, changed. As I indicated earlier, the town approached the unions. At the time that I was union president, I did favor change. There were changes to the insurance as we had it, and there was significant savings to the town and to us as well as the people who received the insurance. Unions got together and they did what they needed to do. This is going to be a little bit different this time around. This is a majority rule here in Marblehead. The Marblehead teachers alone, where there's so many employees, could vote this issue through. I would certainly advocate for that. On the issue of casinos, I really don't have an opinion at this time. Only because that I don't think the governor has really been right up front and forthright as to all the particulars of this legislation. I don't think that any of the communities, other than where the casinos are located, are actually going to see any money at all. I don't think we can expect local aid here in Marblehead or Swampscott or Lynn, unless the casinos are here. We're going to see any of that money. I think it's primarily going into the infrastructure. I think that if possible, if the governor was more forthright, if I was up there on the Hill, and if we could work on our differences, I could possibly be in favor. Thank you.
Thank you, John. I have about 5 more questions regarding economic issues here, and time for one more question. So rather than continue on the economic stuff, I know there's so many more things to cover. I'd like to sort of take a big picture here for a second and ask something about social issues. As a legislator, you will have to deal with other issues besides economics, even though that may be the most concerning issues to us here in local communities. But there are statewide issues you will have to worry about. So, what is your stance on these hot-button social issues? And you better get your pens ready, because there's a list. Gay marriage, stem cell research, gun control, immigration, and of course, abortion rights. All right, one more time on that list. And you get 2 minutes.
How can we do this in 2 minutes?
Yes, no, yes, no, yes. All right, gay marriage, stem cell research, gun control, immigration, and abortion. You can pick any one or all if you wish. 2 minutes, starting with Lori. And goodbye.
Are you sure you don't want to throw in capital punishment too? All right, let's see. Gay marriage. I don't believe in legislating morality. I'm fine with gay marriage. I don't believe in restricting somebody's civil rights. Stem cell research. I'm all for that. If discarded embryos or if the stem cells can be used to improve or save somebody's life, I'm for that. Gun control. I don't think we need assault weapons, and I think background checks are very important. What else? Immigration. Specifically, I mean, immigration is pretty much a federal issue, but there are impacts on our local, in the state. We have people taking a look at providing education in our state schools for the children of immigrants, illegal immigrants, and I think the way I come down on that is it's okay to give them resident tuition prices as long as they agree to sign an affidavit or whatever that they will pursue citizenship, and as long as they have attended public schools. I think for 3 years, I think that is up for discussion right now. And on choice, I am very much pro-choice, protecting women's right to choose.
You're welcome to hit that one. So, thank you very much, Lori. You set the high watermark for concise responses. So, Caesar, you're on the hot seat now.
Oh, no problem. I gay marriage, I can tell you, my role partner led the fight. Michael Costello led the fight. I agree 100% with him. I agree that we should not be in the business of curtailing civil rights in this state. We have a great tradition of being a leader. We should be proud to live in Massachusetts. This is the birthplace of the American Revolution. We've always been a leader. The Massachusetts Constitution preceded the U.S. Constitution by some 12 years. We've always been a leader. We should be a leader in civil rights. We're a leader in healthcare currently, and now in civil rights. We should be proud of that. With respect to stem cell research, any research that would facilitate, that would help to provide breakthrough medical advances, I think should be supported. With respect to gun control, we have under the Constitution we have certain unalienable rights, and one of those some people feel very strongly is the right to bear arms. But that has to be within limits, and we all have public safety issues in mind. So when I say within limits, proper checks. Immigration issue. The immigration problem is not going to go away. I think it's actually not as big a problem as people think it is. It is a hot button issue in this election. what people need where it needs to go is a pathway towards citizenship. I'd rather have people educated and working in the state than uneducated and being a burden in the state. With abortion, I believe in a woman's reproductive rights. Capital punishment, no, 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 until someone shows me that it is completely flawless. I will always be an opponent of capital punishment.
Thank you, Caesar. Mark, your turn.
With regard to gay marriage and people's choices, I agree with pretty much everybody, and probably most people in this room. I don't think we're here to legislate freedom. Freedom belongs individually to the people. We are a state that's based on freedom, and so I am for gay marriage, for people's right to do what they want. Stem cell research. My father passed away from complications of Parkinson's disease. My mother is currently in a nursing home with probably one of the worst cases of rheumatoid arthritis that most people have ever seen. If there was research that could have saved them the pain and suffering that they go through, I would be for it in a minute. I think we need to look into every avenue in health that we can. My basis is preventative medicine prior to curative medicine, but we need all the help we can get. We've created this country. We've created a lot of the pollution and the problems that cause illness. We need to do everything we can do to mitigate that. Gun control, I agree with pretty much everybody. I don't think we need assault weapons. I don't think we need anything with really high standards for background checks. And with regard to immigration, our economy nationally and in this area relies on immigrants, legal immigrants. I am opposed to illegal immigration. I think we need to come up with a plan to allow people to go back to their countries who came here illegally if it's safe, and to go through proper channels to become citizens of the United States. With regard to abortion, again, it's pretty much the same answer as I have to gay marriage. I don't know about it. I'm not a woman, but I support a woman's choice.
John?
Quickest 2 minutes of history here. On the issue of gay marriage, our state Supreme Court has spoken on that issue. It's the law today, and that's the way it is, and that's fine with me. On the issue of stem cell research, I'm aware of some recent developments in technology. It may be that we may not even have this conversation in the very near future, using skin tissue in place of everything. So I'm fine with that. All right. Gun control, I will tell you that Massachusetts already has the toughest gun law in the country. Leave it alone. We should not interfere with the rights of gun owners. On the issue of immigration, I would say that the federal government has really dropped the ball on this one. I'm not happy with the federal government nor the president in the way that the immigration issues been dealt with. But on a state level, I would adamantly oppose licenses to illegal immigrants. I am pro-choice, and as far as tougher laws on sexual predators, on young children, I remind everybody that there's a bill pending right now. I take a very strong stance on that. I'm in favor of mandatory imprisonment for long terms when people are apprehended and found guilty of sexual predator crimes on children. On the issue of capital punishment, you probably guessed this one, I'm in favor of capital punishment, but only in those most serious, heinous crimes that are committed, not in all instances. Thank you.
Tanya, you're right.
Based on my 25+ year experience in national security and civil rights, I have a pretty strong and straightforward position on some of these issues. As far as gay marriage goes, in my understanding, it's a civil union, so I'm not going to interfere with what's already been passed. However, if representing my district, if something that's come up I would definitely represent those voices and make sure that they are heard on Beacon Hill. But I will not do anything myself to change the legislation that has already been passed. With respect to immigration, I am the product of legal immigration, and I feel very strongly about legal immigration. We are a country of immigrants. However, I feel that having people, undocumented people, coming into this country, breaking the law basically, and then living here in the shadow of I don't know what, not knowing, we don't know who they are. This is actually a national security issue. So we do need to secure the border and encourage legal immigration, but not really. I'm the voice of all law-abiding citizens and illegal newcomers. I don't feel like if you are here breaking the law and if you are living in the shadow and you don't want to register or pay taxes, I don't feel you should have any rights or have a voice in this country. As far as gun control, I'm fine with what is in place right now, and I strongly support background checks. As far as stem cell research, yes, I'm in favor of that because I like to help and be proactive in health issues and public health. Let's see, abortion, yes. As a woman and as a mother of 2 daughters, I strongly support pro-choice. Let's see if I forgot anything else. But even with the pro-choice, however, I prefer to have prevent unwanted pregnancies through education and prevention. I definitely would not want to see abortions being used as a method of birth control. Thank you.
Okay, one last question. We haven't been on, other than hot button social issues, we haven't talked about any national issues. So, who do you like for president? And back to you, Caesar.
That's a no-brainer for me. And I think I spoke loud and clear. And the reason for that is because we need a different tack than what we've been on, than we've been for now several years. We need a leader who is intelligent. We need a president who is a consensus builder. We need a president that can raise our international reputation again, because it's been trampled, and we've lost the respect of the international community in the last 15 years. We need someone that can build that up again. Now, some people say that's not important. It absolutely is important, because we are the leader of the free. This is the greatest country, and we have an obligation to maintain the bar at a certain level. So, and the world is watching, and they're watching what's going on, and they're looking very closely at this presidential race. So, what came out of Iowa is the realization that people don't want the same old, same old. They want someone who can actually make us look good, but also be a substantial leader, a diplomat, someone that can take us in the right direction. My choice is clear. That's Barack Obama.
This really isn't a fair question. There's no independents running. I watched the debates last night in New Hampshire, and it's amazing to me. I just wish we could take some of each candidate and put them together and build a candidate, but unfortunately that doesn't happen. Once again, I'm leaning towards agreeing with Caesar, but I haven't made my mind up yet. And typical of most voters, I think, you make your mind up and then you think, oh, wait a minute, I just heard this, and wait a minute, I just heard that. You know, I'm a fledgling politician, but my experience is if you give people long enough to talk, they'll eventually make their point against you voting for them, against my choice. I did have the opportunity to see Barack Obama in Boston when he was stumping for our now governor, and I was very impressed then. I'm still impressed, but I have not made up my mind yet, as I hope most people in this hall haven't made up their minds yet. and we'll take all the information from today and use that to make an intelligent, informed choice.
John?
I too watched the debates last night, and I will tell you that whoever I choose for president will not come from the Democratic ticket. It'll be a Republican. When I think of national politics, sitting up here, I know you could ask this question, Howard, I immediately thought of 9/11. And I'm a little dismayed by the people in this country when we think about national politics, why we don't put security first and foremost. I think back to 9/11, and on that day, I had some business out of Marblehead Neck, and then I was to go to Salem to meet a business partner. And about the time that those planes were taking off from Logan Airport, I happened to be going across the causeway. It was a beautiful, clear day. And I can clearly remember thinking back to that day and seeing 6 or 7 planes in the air leaving Logan Airport. And hearing the news in a coffee shop in Salem, I put the time together. There was a high probability that at least one of those planes that crashed into the World Trade Center, I saw it taken off, at least one of them. And I just don't think that the experience of the people running on the Democratic side of the ticket bring that experience to the table for the security of our country, particularly on the issue of the illegal immigrants. I'm concerned about not only the people coming from our southern borders, but other areas of the country. People coming from the Middle East, they're in there too. They're already here, in my opinion, from what I've been told, from police meetings, Homeland Security. They're already living here. I see that as a very, very important issue. So I will probably be voting from the Republican side of the ticket because they make security number one. Thank you.
Tanya?
Yeah, I've been in national security for my whole adult life, so to speak, so that is definitely important to me, and also happen to be a Republican. But I have not really made up my mind. We have several good candidates on both sides. I think as a Republican, I probably will vote for a Republican candidate. But what's important to me is, of course, national security, a strong defense. If we want to stay a superpower, the only superpower in the world, the only leader in the world, we must have a strong national defense and a strong national security to protect us from domestic and foreign enemies. So that's very important to me. But the economy is another issue of great importance to me. I want to have somebody who's going to be fiscally responsible and fiscally conservative, yet socially sensitive. Things are changing now, and we have a lot of different issues to deal with. We need to help everybody work together, men, women, newcomers, oldcomers, the elderly population. We have a lot of different issues to deal with. I'm a kind of a moderate Republican, and I strongly believe in separation of church and state when it comes to personal moral issues. So that's where I stand, and I haven't made my decision yet.
Lori?
Okay, let me just tell you where I think we've been and where I would like to see us go and what I'm looking for. The past 7+ years of the Bush-Cheney administration, I hope that we will look back at as a very dark period in American political history. We have had a war that is now costing us close to $500 billion, even greater than, and that, by the way, translates into about $195 million a day. Greater than the cost of this war, the dollar cost, is the cost in human lives, Iraqi and American. We have lost local citizens. Swampscott has lost 2 of its vital citizens before, and so has Lynn. We need to turn a corner, and what I'm looking for in a candidate for president is the person with the greatest potential to lead us out of this mess, out of Iraq, and out of this dark period in time. Looking at the sea of candidates, I look at the Democratic side, and I am so proud. I see together somehow make one just super candidate. I hear things coming out of Barack Obama's mouth that are very inspirational. He's a very inspired speaker, and he makes me want to get up and act. Hillary Clinton is very inspirational and very strong in her own regard. John Edwards has his heart in the right place. I'm very proud of the field. I have not committed to a candidate yet, but I feel that I have a richness of candidates to choose from. And I hope that one of them will pull us out of this dark period.